reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter on the MMO Reporter Network, brought to you by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapons with Doghouse Systems. Audible, find your next great read at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter, and by GoDaddy. Put your website to work while you play.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 191. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm joined by the ever so friendly Minion Master himself. Hello, Layanor.
Hello, minions.
And we have, from just down the road, but of course a mile away intellectually, Mr. Again, I forgot that you're supposed to not swallow or breathe your saliva, but swallow it. Mr. at MMO Bill. Hello, Bill.
I'm gonna take that bit as a compliment about the intellectual bit. I need the personal boost today.
Yes, you do. And of course, we have, from across the pond, the fantastic, the ever so wonderful, the enigmatic, the wonderful Mr. at Harry Hall himself. We have Harry Hall. Hi,
Finally, I've been here every week, but you never speak to me. I'm just sitting here waiting for someone to ask me a damn question.
Well, you got to take off your Steve name tag.
Oh.
That doesn't help things any. Steve, don't talk, Steve. That was not an invitation for you to speak. Sit there and be quiet. Sorry.
It's a technical issue. We had Harry on the same line as Steve, and you could hear them chatting to each other.
Right.
I mean, it was a little bit crude sometimes, but
I've had that in Destiny, by the way, that I can hear a friend and he can hear his friend, but we cannot hear all three of us together. It's long-lived the PlayStation Network. We'll get into that later. Hey, it's good to be back. I've been very, 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 very busy writing a book and writing articles and doing all kinds of stuff that just took all the energy out of me, and I didn't have any time or desire to play MMOs. And I thought, if I don't want to play MMOs, I shouldn't be on an MMO Reporter show.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, you know what, Harry? As I said in the pre-show, my vindictive, selfish bastard part of me is very unhappy with your continued success. But as your friend, I'm really happy you're doing well.
Yeah, and I will repeat, thanks, I guess. No, but it's good to be back. Recently I talked to Father Roderick of podcasting fame, who was a guest on the Dutch podcast that I was doing, more a general gaming podcast, and I discussed with him.
Wait, hold on. You were on another podcast, but not on ours. I'm not in any way hurt.
Anyway, so I said I have difficulty maintaining my MMO play time during summer, and he says, why don't you just write your books in summer and play MMOs in fall and winter like every sane person? And I agree with him. So this is a perfect rhythm. And immediately after that, I started to install EVE Online, and it's dark days afterwards. We'll get into that later. Anyway, hi.
Welcome back. We're happy to have you here.
Yeah.
But we do have, oh my gosh, so much to talk about. This may be a long show. Just saying. Maybe. So let's get right into things here. And you know what? Let's change things up a little bit. Harry, as our long-departed host, why don't you start things off this week?
Ooh, I am the long departed.
I didn't say dearly departed.
Anyway, it's not getting any better.
The laughing. That's fine.
Think of it as the pole position, Harry.
I'm moving on. Basically, okay. The thing is, I played Shadow of Mordor, and
Oh my God! Did it take over your life too?
it is a fantastic game. And even though the scripted story doesn't interest me at all, sorry, but
There's a story.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the systems and the whole idea of the dynamic orc leadership and the bosses that evolve if you win or lose is just fantastic. But it led to some very weird situations. For example, I was at the very beginning of the game. Somehow, I don't know if I was still in the tutorial section or what happened. I just, when I was defeated by orcs, I didn't die. Somehow, I just got beaten down, and then one of those orcs said, "Well, let that be a lesson to you. I will let you live in shame." And he just walks away. And I thought, okay, this is good. So I get up, and the second I get up, the entire band of orcs runs back. Oi! And they start pounding on me, and I have a sliver of health. So again, I go down. I'll let you live with this shameful defeat, and walk off. I get up, and again the entire band. They're not orcs; they're bullies.
I'm still trying to find the one orc captain because I know I didn't kill him, but I'm trying to find the one that goes as his taunt speech. Have you run into him?
No, I have
That's
not.
all he does. He doesn't talk. It's like some adult magazine watching guy in his car or something.
I get the feeling that script was probably written on a Friday afternoon.
On Beer Friday, you mean?
So I could just see the to-do list. Oh crap, we got one more lieutenant to write. Okay, I'm out. Beer time.
Both in the mic, and let's go. Yeah. That's a wrap, everybody.
I want to get that video out because that would be hilarious. It's like Layanor's dead horse in Arcade. And which I still think is probably one of the best pieces of video you've ever put together, Layanor. Your dead horse segment was absolutely amazing. Have you seen Layanor's dead horse segment, folks?
I've not, but I'm intrigued now.
It's amazing because the thing about Arcade is that if you if you're riding around on your horse, well, Layanor, okay, you tell the story. Do you remember the timestamp that it's at in your video?
Go a little bit past halfway. It should be there.
It's like
basically,
isn't it?
Arcade horses, they take damage. They follow you around. They're like pets. They take damage. If you're walking along, your horse can follow you. If your horse runs out of health, it falls over and dies. Now, the weird thing is, you can unsummon your horse.
Okay, wait.
Summon it again.
I've got the video ready here. Okay, I'm gonna play it for everybody. Are you ready?
I'm laughing.
Okay, here we go. And so
you
everybody in the chat room
still summon it for some strange reason, and you can take it somewhere to go get healed. But while it's dead, there's many uses, like taking it fishing, feeding deer, fetching the mail for you, letting it roam free,
and falling every time he summons
taking it for a ride, feeding the ducks, and of course, not letting those pesky bandits get away.
And
We hope that you enjoyed these videos. This game was a lot of fun to play, and there's so many different things to do, and I'm going to continue playing it myself. I'm having a ball playing this game. Thank you for watching all 3 episodes, and we hope to see you in game.
I don't know. I really I really like the bit where the horse considerately died in the opposite direction of all the cute little ducks.
Yeah.
You know, it could have gone over one way and it would have been a disaster, but it went over the other way and it was just
man.
hilarious.
Yeah, so that's Arcade Horses. Sorry. Go ahead, Harry. It's still your turn.
Okay. I'll just I'll quote Star Wars Episode 1, which is actually terrible, but it kind of sums it up. I played Lord of the Rings online after Shadows of Mordor, and then Elite Dangerous, and Elite led to Kerbal, Kerbal led to Eve, and Eve led to suffering. I kind of got stuck back in every MMO I've played before. I'm actually going to play World of Warcraft next, but that's work. Damn it! I have to review the expansion when it comes out, so I have an excuse there. Now, seriously, Elite Dangerous, the beta, I was not able to play Elite Dangerous since Alpha 4.03, because after a certain patch was rolled out, the game didn't launch anymore, which is ironic for a space game.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it to run. It launched into a black screen and nothing happened. And I've been working for 2 weeks to get it running. It didn't work. And last week I just decided I have to get this thing to work. And I pestered support until they tried to give me a solution. They didn't. I finally found a solution to make it work, kind of. I have to start with the game in not full screen. And if the game is in full, and then afterwards I can go full screen and then it works.
Okay.
It's a workaround. It's long story short, I can play Elite Dangerous again, which is and of course, this makes me want to launch Kerbals into space, and of course this makes me realize that the one true love that I have in MMO world is EVE Online. So I'm just stuck into space. Played a little bit of Destiny, little lots actually, and I'm very curious what Chris thinks about this, because I checked the stats and I finished the single player portion in about 6 hours, and I played about between 14 and 20 hours of multiplayer deathmatch, which was a lot of fun, and I'm kind of done with the game.
Yeah.
And because now it becomes a loot grind, and it's just not tuned well enough. There's not a lot to do. The single player story, I'm sorry, it's barely there. It is basically Dinklebot goes somewhere, scans something, things appear, you kill them, and you move on. That's the story of Destiny.
You know, but I find my biggest thing is not so much that I don't like the story, which I think the story is fine, if somewhat generic and somewhat light. Very much young adult fiction in its
Summarize it for me. What happens?
I went somewhere and Dinklebot came out and told me to kill stuff.
Exactly.
But I get it that you're a guardian coming up, and now I'm at the part where I'm trying to go to the Black Garden. So I've just met the brother, sister, reef people, and so there's some story going on there. But here's the thing. My biggest gripe with the story is how absolutely blatant the hooks for the DLC are. And that bugs me, because I've been around long enough and I've played enough games that I like something self-contained. And I think maybe it was last week or whenever, I used the example of Diablo 3 has a fully self-contained story, and they were able to do an expansion, and that was fine. And why couldn't Destiny do the same thing? Because they wanted to have more DLC more often in smaller chunks, so they had to break up their story more. The rumors are already going around, not rumors, but the online stories about the lead lore team and creative team and stuff like that, somebody being brought in the last 6 months or so and having to basically gut the story for something that was going to be much shorter than what it was supposed to be. But all that said, I still have fun every time I go in, and I get a few more missions done. I'm at a point now stuck at about level 14 where I have to grind out some levels doing patrols to be able to do my next story. I can do the next chunk of story, but I always run out of ammo because the enemies are just too hard. And they're just got too much defenses when I don't have enough offense. And I'm doing like 38 damage per shot. That's not going to do anything.
So you haven't finished the story yet?
I have not finished the story yet, but I'm still having fun. I want to play more.
Speak to me when you've seen the end.
Okay, I will. But for what...
sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I don't think the story is bad enough to make it a bad game. And I think the story is bad enough that were everything else equal, I might choose another game sooner. But I would still play through this one. I think that the mechanics and the parts of the story that are there are good enough to keep me moving forward.
Well, it's what I say. I've had a lot of fun with Destiny, and I've had tremendous fun playing with 2 friends, going through missions, which is awesome because then it doesn't matter that there is no story because you make up your own experiences. You are just having fun with friends, and the shooting mechanics are fantastic.
And were you able to skip through the grind a little bit because you had more people?
Yeah, actually, I was kind of a level behind at a certain point. Then I had to go into Mars, and I was a level too low to actually finish it alone. And then with 2 friends, it was kind of doable. So that basically helped keep my playtime shorter, I think. I think if you're doing it solo, I think you're looking at a good 8 hours. And I did it mostly with friends. And I think I had the better end of the deal because it's more fun. But I am still kind of torn about it. It's fun when you're playing it, and the player versus player is just fantastic. I'm having a lot of fun with it, but it doesn't have a long game for me.
No, and it's an MMO the same way Borderlands is an MMO.
It's better than Borderlands because you're not buried under a pile of weapons every step you take.
No, but the MMO aspects of it, the gear game, for lack of a better term, is similar in that way to MMOs, and that's really the one of the few aspects that scratches for me that MMO game itch. The worlds aren't together enough. Even the hub. I mean, you don't have everyone in the same version of the hub, and you can't transfer 2 different versions of the tower, can you?
No,
Right.
And the hub is basically a bad menu system.
Right.
And one of the most, and I don't want to rant too. This is the thing.
We need to move
Whenever
along,
I'm
but yeah.
but when I'm playing the Destiny, I'm having fun. When I'm stopping and thinking and talking about it, I become angry.
Oh, I'm still at the have fun stage, so.
Yeah, but never mind. I play Final Fantasy XIV because a friend of mine basically forces me to play it, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm level 42, I think, 8 levels away from the level cap. And then the real game starts with raiding and everything. And
MMO Reporters Game of the Year 2013, ladies and gentlemen.
could you please... We need a broom to sweep up the sarcasm here. Anyway, and finally, you like this desert golfing?
What?
Do you guys know desert golfing?
Never. I usually try to avoid the desert when I'm golfing.
Sounds
Okay,
impossible.
This is the new hipster hotness. This is no, I'm not going to mention Flappy Bird at all. But this is a golfing game set in the desert. I mean, who would have guessed? You're looking at it from the side, and you have this big. It's like this 8-bit game. It looks very primitive. You have a ball and you have a hole at the other end of the screen, and you just like Angry Birds, you stretch over the screen with a little arrow, and the further you pull back, the more power there is in your swing. That's it. There is a score that goes up, and there is an infinite number of holes. There is no par. There is no do-over. It's not possible to start a hole over again. Your score will go up infinitely, and so will the holes go on infinitely. So you would say there is no point in playing, but it is very relaxing and very infuriating, and it's a very well-designed little bit of physics because you're playing in sand, and it is utterly addictive.
What is it
So,
here? Kotaku says, "F.U. Desert Golfing, the worst best game in the world."
That sums it up. And if you have a, it is a stupid waste of time. But then again, it's not, because it's a pure game. It's the same kind of. Imagine you're waiting somewhere. You don't have a smartphone. All you have is little pieces of paper and a trash basket a couple of feet away.
What
are you going to do? Yes, that's the thing. It is a, and some holes are horrible, and you start making little goals for yourself. Like, I want to keep it under an average of 3 strokes per hole or whatever. And it is.
I hate you, Harry Hall.
And all of a sudden you're playing through the desert, and you're going. I'm up to hole, I think, 500 or something, and then all of a sudden there's a little rock lying in your way. And it's not just background; it actually reacts in the physics as well, because you can bump it up when you hit it. And there's a little cloud floating over, and the color changes very gradually. Well, it is a weird, odd reality that you're stuck in. And I noticed that I've played more hours of desert golfing than most of the other games on my list, and those are MMOs.
Sorry, I'm playing desert golf. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not sorry. I'm very angry with you. This is Tiny Tower all over again.
Yes. But this is good.
Somebody else talk, because I'm playing desert golf.
Yeah, what did you do?
Yeah, I think it's. I'm afraid. I feel like you said, like when you say that it's Flappy Birds all over again, or you imply that it's nothing like Flappy Birds, but secretly you're actually implying that it's a little bit like Flappy Birds. I'm a little scared. I'm not afraid to say.
Or threes.
No, threes.
Threes is brilliant.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with threes. Fives if you're on Android, because
there's an actual threes on Android.
Oh, there is now. When threes was the new hotness and everything like that, there was no equivalent on Android, so somebody jumped up and made fives. Exactly the same game.
Hole in one. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, desert golfing. I think you've just done a favor for somebody who. Why in the desert?
I don't know the creator, but because it's horrible, because the sand. It's kind of it. The ball bounces further than you want it to, but it also doesn't roll as fast as you want it. So you have to really take into account the physics of it. And this is, it's much better than it actually looks.
The obvious sequel, I think, is probably going to be Arctic golfing, so that the screen is just white with a little bit of like gray on it.
It keeps rolling forever.
Up the challenge, make it even more frustrating.
I'm actually at hole 728 now. And I've done 2150 strokes to get there.
How many? Sorry, you were busy stroking.
I think we move on with what we did in game. I think I'm done.
I'm
sorry,
going to talk about mine then.
Yeah, okay, turn off Desert Golf. Turn off. It's off. It's off, I promise.
You're weak in gaming. I sincerely hope, Layanor.
Well, mine's short, but I've been basically sticking with 3 games. I've been playing LOTRO throughout the week. I've been working a little bit on the PvP area, but I've been working on my first age weapons most of the time, trying to get into some skirmishes and stuff to build up the points to max those out. Secret World had a double experience weekend, so I played that pretty much the whole weekend whenever I could. And I have a whole bunch of skills now that I've been wanting for quite a while. And then I have been playing Hearthstone, and my mage is up to level 29.
Holy smokes.
So getting into that.
You've been playing that a lot.
Yeah. I have been playing that a lot. I haven't been playing the other characters at all either, just the mage.
Yeah, no kidding. Holy cow, that's crazy. Crazy,
yeah,
awesome, but crazy.
You were just you just jumped through all the tutorial and finished all the different classes in that like last week, didn't you?
Yeah, I pretty much just touched on it and liked it a lot. Actually, I played it about a couple of months ago and liked it, and didn't play it again until about last week, and then I've been going back to it pretty much almost every night.
Wow, that's because my character I think is mid-teens is my highest. What about you? You've played Hearthstone, haven't you, Harry?
Yeah, but I'm now playing desert golfing. Wait.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, yeah, I don't know what my level is, and I've played it with a passion, but I've moved on. But now I'll probably play it. I'm waiting for the iPhone version, actually.
Yeah, I love my iPad version like more than my desktop version.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Much more on the
Android one.
iPad.
They keep saying it's coming out for Android, but it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
It should, because everybody deserves to play this game. It's one of the great free-to-play games out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I've been doing. So, Bill, what have you been doing?
Well, for me, I'm still going back to my main go-to, my main squeeze, Guild Wars 2. I've actually almost given up on my. Speaking of main, I've been given up on my main, and I've been mainly playing alts. Boy, that just sounded redundant and backwards. I want that sentence back.
It's a beautiful sentence, but it ran away from you.
It was technically correct, but just so wrong. Anyway, mainly playing alts. I've been running up an elementalist. I finished off. I actually got my engineer up to level 80, so I have 2 level 80s now, and it's my go-to. It's my comfort. It's my little sucky blanket, really. When I have no idea what to play, I can fire up Guild Wars 2 and I can have a good time. That's just it. I also have been doing some bounties in Diablo 3, getting up to because I finished the game. I hit the level cap, so I'm going through the second levels. I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head now.
Paragon.
But yeah, Paragon levels. So I've been working through those. I think I'm at about Paragon level 30 or something now, and Diablo 3, kill things. If you ever need to kill 10,000 to something, Diablo 3 is a really good time. I've been playing Shadows of Mordor 2. Now, last week I was talking about my first run with Shadows of Mordor and just kind of explaining how I had a bit of a rough go, that I had such a hard time really getting the game down. I've never played a game that was so difficult in the first bit, like right through the tutorial and through the first a couple exercises. It was just hard to play. I kept dying and I couldn't explain why. Well, this week I actually played it. My first week I was actually doing Steam streaming from my PC over my home network onto my home theater PC on my TV, and
so good.
It's a brilliant technology. The latency was killing me. I played it this week, and all of a sudden my attacks were happening right off the bat. I was able to block. I was able to get out of the way. I could actually play the game, and I didn't embarrass myself over and over again against the same lieutenants. Right, Chris? So Steam Stream, I don't know if that's a patch thing or a bug thing or something like that, but something to be aware of anyway, that those kind of fast-paced games might not do as well Steam streaming at this point in life. I love the technology. I love Steam Stream. I just want it to be slightly better.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
With Shadows of Mordor. So,
yeah.
And I did a thing. This is kind of the tradition. This is what we do when we do a bad thing. We have it's kind of like our own little walk of shame. I'm going home wearing the same clothes I was wearing yesterday, and I resubbed for World of Warcraft.
It's okay, buddy. We're here for you.
So
we're here for you.
I'm right there with you soon. So
yeah. And we joke about it to all you WoW players out there. We joke about this tons, but there's a reason we all go back.
It's the MMO equivalent of a booty call. It's gonna be you know it's going to be cheap isn't the right word, but it's going to be a quick good time. It's gonna bring you back to the good old days, and you'll be able to jump in, do a quick raid, and then you go home and you hug Guild Wars 2 and you're sorry that you betrayed it.
And
if
that's going to be the
actually
next.
True.
That's
If
going to
that
be.
was actually,
go ahead, Harry.
I was just saying, if that was actually true, they would double their subscribers and not lose half.
That's going to be. I can see now the new ads for the new expansion. Wow, the MMO booty call. MMO reporter.
They have Booty Bay.
Exactly. Yeah, they planned it all along. It's built into the marketing. They've been just waiting to unleash this concept. So
the MMO equivalent of going home in yesterday's clothes.
Seriously, I want to step up for all those WoW players who are listening and who are kind of like groaning over this. I'm honestly looking forward to playing World of Warcraft after being away for almost a year. And I think
Since
it
you
is
finished the last expansion.
Yeah.
No,
well, it finished me, but okay, never mind.
Bounce, bow.
I was trying to throw them a bone, damn it. Okay, come on.
That's what you
in all
said.
seriousness, I mean, it took me I dusted off my old level 80 shaman that I hadn't played in a million years, and it took me a long time to go through my inventory and my bank and try to remember why I had all this crap, because I had like 10 inventory slots free through all my bags and everything. So I did a great big purge. If I don't know what it is, I'm not going to miss it. So there you go. And I got my add-ons set up again, because you can't play World of Warcraft with the stock UI, or I can't anyway. Maybe there's other humans that can, but it's just not possible for me. So I spent probably a good hour and a half tweaking the game and getting it set up so that I could play. And then I actually started playing and I was having fun. It's just they do a really good job guiding their story. Like you could argue whether the story is cheesy or whether it's inspired as far as video games go or not. I think I actually put World of Warcraft's storylines that they bake in probably at the upper end of most MMOs, but it just feels good. It's warm, it's fuzzy, it leads you where it points you exactly where you want to go. It's very much theme park kind of stuff. I liked it. It was fun.
Awesome.
I'm okay with World of Warcraft. So
I'm glad you're comfortable with yourself, Bill.
I'm proud of my booty call. So, Chris, how about you? What kind of excitement did you get yourself up to this week?
I avenged you some more in Shadows of Mordor, because that's what I do.
Because I've died to every lieutenant that you could possibly die to.
Pretty much, yep. It's sometimes, though, I have to admit, I feel like and I don't know if you got to this point, Bill or Harry, I feel like I'm gaming the system, because with the use of your Wraith stun and your jump to stun and your exploding head bit that you can get, I sometimes can face 4 or 5 captains and their hordes of minions, and it takes me 20 minutes to kill them, but I've gotten my combos up to 150. That's the highest I've gotten a combo to. And I really sometimes feel like, okay, double jump here, attack, 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 attack. I'm getting that feeling sometimes. I don't know if either of you have gotten that at all.
I certainly haven't got it with lieutenants. I've got there with just regular orcs, taking 4 or 5 at a time, and it makes me feel like a big man. But I since I started, or outside of my Steam stream experience, I don't think I fought more than one lieutenant. What
about you, Harry?
Well, I agree with Bill. It's for me. It's the grunt fights that make me feel like a badass, and the lieutenants, you really need to be more tactical.
With the lieutenants, I've got their grunts with them, right? They bring in their 20 guys when they come in.
I don't feel overpowered or anything. I do feel like a badass. It's like Batman Arkham Asylum. it's the same feeling of sticky combat that if you basically get the rhythm down, you're fine. And
I guess that's what it is. I never got that in, and I don't know if there wasn't the stun, jump over stun move that you can get. Because what I basically
exactly
do
the
for
same
almost
in
everything
Batman.
is I jump over, stun, and then attack the guy till his head blows up.
Well, you could do the same thing in Batman. I mean, you had the cape thingy.
Yeah, but I didn't think that stunned them.
Yeah, that did.
Okay.
Little stars going over, and there are so many similarities in the combat system to Batman.
Yep.
But I don't mind that because it's not all. That's not all it is, and there are certain challenges that you really need to. I love the fact that you can take different approaches to even the toughest boss, and some you can even one-hit kill if you know their weaknesses.
Oh, totally. I had one of the there was the one quest where you have to kill the 4 captains. And one was could be killed through stealth finishers.
Yeah.
So I just snuck up on him and one-shot him. Boom, dead, and that was awesome.
And other times you just can't, and you have a 10 minutes fight where you have to use all the environment stuff.
I have yet to use any environment stuff. I use my jump over and stun is pretty much it. I kill everybody around.
What are you playing it on, actually?
Pardon me? PC.
Are you playing it? Oh, okay. And Destiny, you're playing on PlayStation 4?
No, Xbox 360.
Oh, you poor thing. Okay, never
Thank
mind.
you for offering to buy me a next generation console, Harry. That's very kind of you. Thank you. I'll tell you where to ship it later.
Yeah, I only deliver PAL versions, and you don't. You have NTSC.
Oh
so,
no,
sorry.
I've got a PAL TV here. I'm good.
No, you don't.
No,
it's broken.
I do.
Look behind you.
It's good. Send away. Send away. All right. Played some Rift, leveling up, getting ready for Nightmare Tide. Some Wildstar, getting ready for Extra Life, which we'll talk about later. And Marvel Heroes. Played Rogue, who is a really cool hero. I've got a whole video dedicated to one hero. Basically, she absorbs powers, which is what Rogue does. And you can absorb powers from enemies and from friends. So right now, my biggest attacks on Rogue are Wolverine's Claws are my main attack. Mr. Fantastic's area effect punch is my punch. And then I've got Thor's Lightning Strike. So I'm kind of badass, and I'm kind of mowing through everything, and it is freaking awesome. And there hasn't been a character like that you could tweak quite to that extent. And then from all the villains, I've stolen not actual abilities, but passives that give me different bonuses. So it's really cool. I'm really enjoying it. I'll have a first report podcast out on that soon. If Premiere will stop screwing around with me, I'm having a fight with my video editing software. If you can't tell. All right, on that note, since everybody thought that was so interesting they felt the need to comment, we're going to move along to the news. This week's news comes with some Wildstar news once again. We started the show last week with Wildstar, and we start it this week again. And I'm not the one who picked the show order. It wasn't just me. So, it's not
Quit
my
apologizing.
fault. Not my fault. A couple things we want to talk about. First, there's a state of the game that they've posted out. The new, I guess the best way to call it is, he's the guy who's in charge of the game, but they're not giving him the sort of same title that, Jeremy Gaffney had. They don't have someone in that position who's running the game. They have someone running the studio, and then they have Mike Donatelli running the game. And so Mike Donatelli wrote his State of the Game stuff. A couple of different things coming out here. They're talking about the next 2 content drops, which content updates, they call them drops, which they've squished into sort of one. Drop 3 and 4 will become drop 3. The first part of it, the Mystery of Genesis Prime, will introduce some new level 50 content, a new zone, and a tie into the plot from the last drop, the Strain. And then the second one, Journey to Omnicore 1, opens up the galaxy-spanning Nexus Saga, which is the next big chunk of lore, which was a lot of what we talked about at PAX was about this. And the cool thing that they're talking about is every bit of story content from now on will be fully voiced. So all of the quests that you go through, all of the NPCs in this Nexus Saga chain of quests are all going to be fully voiced. And I got to experience some of that at PAX, and it was really, really cool to see that. So that's exciting.
Is it? Oh, is it really?
For people who are playing the game, absolutely. To have the fully voiced stuff really adds to the... See, the thing is, they did it for most of the main story content for Wildstar with Drusera and all that, and it added for me. The voice for the character really added to the characterization, I thought.
Well, and forgive me for going down a little bit of a nostalgia kick here, though, but having played, again, I'm going back to my early 2000s here, having played Dark Age of Camelot recently, having played World of Warcraft recently, I can see a benefit, and actually, Guild Wars 2, and I'll come back to that in a second. The voice acting, I think it's good for tying a central story in there. It's nice as like a cinematic kind of effect and that kind of thing. I'm actually finding it really jarring and annoying in like the interludes and the non-central steps and everything like that.
Oh, excuse you. Did you punch your mic there?
That's quite jarring.
Yeah.
That was jarring. Just like the voice acting, I was trying to make a point. Anyway, I miss kind of the day that I miss actually reading quest text. I think, and I think that when you're talking about flavor and when you're building up kind of a story, je ne sais quoi, I think having text-based updates and that kind of thing is actually a good thing. And I think overdoing voice acting is a bad thing. And
so you would only have it for like the main story lore part of the game.
Yes, and
like,
one of the
like what they're doing for Wildstar.
I would say I don't think advertising the fully voiced bits like that is a good thing. I think I don't see it as a positive thing. Again, I'm coming back to Guild Wars 2 as well. Love Guild Wars 2. Almost everything about it. The voice acting is awful in it, and it knocks you right out of the game. So unless you're actually getting good quality voice acting all the way through,
I liked it.
It's going to hurt.
I like the voice acting in Guild Wars 2.
Really?
The Char were fantastic, actually.
And even though everybody else hated him, what's your name? The dude there that was through the main part of the story all the way through.
Oh, he was terrible.
Oh, I didn't mind him at all.
Oh, the Safari.
Yeah.
Traherne? Oh man,
yeah,
that is the most. I mean,
Grating.
Maybe that's what they were going for with a Sylvari, but the most wooden voice acting you've ever seen.
And you're complaining instead of being so excited about their dedication to character.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Voice acting for me is not an automatic win. I think that there's voice acting and then there's voice acting and then there's too much voice acting. So
all right, moving on here.
I want to offer
quick mention
two
here,
bits, very quick. The less actual scripted story an MMO has, the better, because you want it to be about an experience and not about a script. And I think voice acting, just like Star Wars: The Old Republic showed us, just pretends it's a single player game. Well, it really isn't.
I liked it. So to each their own.
You're wrong!
They've also mentioned some quality of life issues, bug fixes, yellow tweaks, housing remodeling, extensive quality of life, adjustments for lobies, and tutorial skipping for alts, which I timed it. I can make it through the tutorial in 11 minutes. So I'm happy to get those 11 minutes back. And no date for release, but they do have some patch notes about what's coming up, which I just pulled a few things from the very extensive patch notes here that I thought really maybe hinted at the change in design style. All dungeons and adventures will now have their own associated quests that will provide players with valuable rewards upon completion. Yay, no more RNG. Woohoo. Well, not no more, a little bit less RNG. And completing Veteran Stormtalon's Lair and Veteran's Ruins of Voreth and earning a gold medal now each reward a single-use amp upgrade. And if you do Skullcano or Sword Maiden, you get an ability tier upgrades. Now, the amp upgrades and ability tier unlocks at max level are like side grading. They're like alternate advancement. They're different ways to advance your character without getting more levels. So there's something they're a system that you've been using since level 10 or 15 or whenever, but now you get to do it more and tweak it a little bit more at level 50. So cool that they're doing that just for completing the golds and giving those golds now that they've moved the rating attunement down so much. It still gives you a really, really great reward for running gold veterans, which I think is needed. And then the quest tracker, along with this, shows what's needed for bronze, silver, and gold. We're starting to look at some changes, guys, here that are really tinkering with the design direction of the game. Are we thinking this is a good direction here? Layanor, I know you played a lot at launch. What do you think of these changes?
It looks like they are making things a little bit more available for people, but I know that a lot of people over on Massively, the writers over there, were pretty much agreed upon that they need to expand more on the world and not so much on the rating.
Which I think they've got a new zone coming in. As long as they don't build it like the last zone, which is do a couple quests and look, you've got another rep grind.
Yeah.
And more dailies to do, which I did it for a good, because I was on strike when I got to level 50. And so I had time, and I ran that for a good month and a half, 2 months almost, of dailies. And I was done. So done by the time I stopped doing that with those characters and moved on to some of my alts. Absolutely done. So if that's what the new zone is, that's not content. That's shit. Let me put in a mark there to edit.
It really came from deep within, that remark.
From the heart, from the heart.
Sorry. Okay, Layanor, what about you, Harry?
I have not played enough of this game recently to have an opinion either way.
Well, what about from at launch? Because you reviewed it at launch, right?
It's been too long. I'm sorry. I
okay.
plead the fifth.
And Bill, you've been playing more recently. And okay, Bill, is Bill's mic muted?
No, sorry, I lost you there for a second.
Oh, what do you think?
You keep dropping.
Oh, you know what? You kind of talked about it, and I've got more I want to talk about here. So. I don't mean to skip, but you kind of were talking about some of the stuff. Anything jump out at you that you feel a deep burning desire to discuss?
Nothing from the patch notes. I thought it was a little curious the way that the state of the game was kind of organized. I felt like a lot of the sections kind of focused first on story type stuff, new player experiences, and that kind of thing. And I really got the vibe that they're taking the kind of quote unquote elitist narrative that's really being delivered to them to heart. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing or not. It's a good thing that they're listening maybe, but maybe not such a good thing that they're willing to shift their core vision based on
and we still
internet noise.
We have yet to see any actual numbers about how much. I know I saw a number somewhere that said about 500,000 sold, which is for a game with that big of a production team. I bet you not anywhere near what they were just basically hoping for, like as a basic number. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that with that much of a budget, they were hoping for over 1 million. At launch, right? So you got to wonder how many players are playing right now. Speaking of which, mega servers are coming. This has been discussed for the last little while, and it's coming soon. It's coming on October 15th. And servers are going down at 5 a.m. Pacific on October 15th for 12 to 24 hours, and they're going to come back up as a mega server. And that's kind of exciting. There are going to be 4 mega servers total, 2 EU, 2 North America. Entity will be the PvE mega server, and Warhound will be the PvP mega servers, both of those for North America. And for Europe, I love the names that they chose here. I think I like them better than the North American ones. PvE mega server will be Jabbit, and the PvP mega server will be Lumini. I like those names. It was all community chosen.
What is the difference between calling it a mega server and calling it a server merger?
I think they have the tech that could support all the players on one. I think even with the drop in players, I don't think they could have fit all the players onto one server. And so
but
now
isn't this basically a server merger with a different name?
Server merger with better tech, yes.
And that's exactly what we talked about previously, and it's taking the same problem and solving it in a very slightly different way.
Well, if the servers all fill up again, then basically it splits up the servers again, then, right?
No,
it doesn't merge.
Not. There will never be any more servers. There will always only ever be one server, but they've got the tech now to do things like different layers.
Oh, okay.
And that sort of stuff. Same thing that ESO does. And I think a little bit similar to what Guild Wars 2 does, just with some differences that make it a little bit more Wildstar specific. If you've got a name, you are going to have a surname. So everybody has a name, so everybody's going to have a surname to avoid duplicate names. I think from what I've read, everyone will have to have a surname, and that kind of sucks because I don't want to have a surname. And I don't think anyone will have a duplicate. Characters with who are only level 1 or 2 have not been played in the last 30 days will be deleted. If you are a Wildstar player with a character level 1 or 2 that you want to keep because you really like the look, go in and play it. And guild names if there are duplicates. Oldest guild wins the names. There will be temporary guild names of letters and symbols if a guild master chooses to put off the decision to pick a new name. You can sort of choose later, and it'll give you a temporary guild name just to get by until then, and then the guild can get together and pick a new name. Kind of exciting for the Wildstar community. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in the aftermath of this. More so than I think it'll be some sort of magic fix. I'm just really interested to see what's going to happen with this vibrant community, at least online that I've seen, sort of all now on the same place. Because people were kind of going to Stormtalon and Purgo was where it was all at.
Isn't this just the first step towards going free to play?
And here's the thing, and we talked about this last week. I read somewhere that they had free to play sort of on the back burner. But somebody else then showed me, because I had read it somewhere, the correct version of the quote, and it was, it's not like we have free-to-play on the back burner. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this. I think it would be fiscally irresponsible for a company to launch without that plan, yet...
Their quote is that they're listening to the talk about it. So it's obviously something that's on their mind, but I kind of got the impression that it's not built into the game. Like, it's not a switch that they can flip. They're ready to flip on when they hit a certain market condition or something like that. So we talked about it a little bit last week, and I'd be really surprised if this is something they pull off quickly. Like, if they are able, if free to play is the obvious answer, I don't see how they do it before spring 2015, even if they decided tomorrow to do it.
I want them to stay subscription. I know that makes me... Why does that make me feel like I'm a bad person for wanting it to stay subscription?
There's nothing wrong with it if that is the game that you want to invest most of your time in. But I I would like. I love the fact that Lord of the Rings Online is free to play, because I can just. Recently, I just got back in and just rode from the Shire to Rivendell just for nostalgia's sake. Just 15 minutes of fun. And I didn't have to get some card out or whatever to pay. And whenever I think about Wildstar now, I think, oh, that would be fun to try again. But then I would have to start a subscription and pay for a month. And I noticed it with Final Fantasy 14. I resubscribed for that with a game time card that I still had lying around. So it wasn't. I already invested, but I've played it 3 times this week, and I feel like I should be playing more because I invested a time card, and that's not. I hate that feeling. I want to just be able to jump into this kind of game, and whenever I'm ready to invest more time, then pick up my wallet.
Yeah, I know. I'm. We talked about this last week, so we don't need to talk about it in detail again. I wish there was a way for subscription games to stay as a niche product. Layanor, move us along because we're talking too long about this.
Speaking of not a lot of people, Destiny has a lot of people.
Yes, it does.
Bungie is saying that they have 3.2 million players logging in regularly, and the
3.2 million daily.
Daily. It says regularly.
And it says next line averages 3.2 million daily.
Yes. 3.2 million players each and every day. Average play time is still around 3 hours a day, even on the weekdays. Harry, you said that you went through the single-player game in about 6 hours. Can you see yourself playing 3 hours a day still every day?
No, but this is an average, right? I mean, I'm 41 and I have a job. There are a lot of people who are young and are in school, and when they get home, they can do this. And more power to them. I envy them.
I forgot how old you were.
Don't say it with that kind of a... Like, I get enough of this crap in my Dutch podcast. I'm podcasting with 26-year-olds. Thank you for that. Upbeat.
That's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting if you think about it, though. Like 3 hours a day is a lot for an average, because that means that I mean, if there's people like yourself, Harry, or like yourself, Chris, and that if everything goes well, you might get an hour in. That means that there's other people at the other end of the spectrum balancing it out by playing 8, 9, 10 hours a day.
Also, if I play more than an hour, I try to place up and. Old folks joke. No, it is a lot. I mean, I played when I was in the middle of it, like really thoroughly enjoying doing missions with friends, and then jumping. And then afterwards, after playing an hour of that, jumping into multiplayer PvP, I still didn't go for more than 2 hours, I think, and I felt I had played a long time. It's fun, but I mean, who does that? Who plays more than 3 hours? Who plays the 5 hours to round me out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Destiny's looking pretty good. It's getting some pretty big numbers. Bill, go on to the next story.
Well, the next story is just cool. It's a little video that I missed coming out of the weekend for Star Citizen. Star Citizen had their fan convention called CitizenCon last week, and Chris Roberts took the stage, and they actually showed a video gameplay of planetary gameplay. So they actually showed you landing your ship, getting out of your ship, walking through the security pod, and milling about in a city environment. And I mean, it's very plain. It's very obviously a work in progress, but it was so cool. Like,
yes, it was.
I'm ready. I've got my Oculus Rift imagined on my head, and I'm just ready. I was watching this video just as we were getting ready for the show, and I was thinking about, I could do that on the Oculus Rift. I was thinking about Ready Player One, which I'm about 3/4 of the way through now.
Oh, that's so good.
On Mr. Harry Hall's recommendation, I might add. Thank you, Goodreads. So is this the beginning? Like, is Chris Roberts going to be the Halliday in 30 years?
No, that's David Braben, because Elite was there first. But doesn't matter.
Yeah, you missed out. We had a couple of good Elite stories while you were gone, Harry. So, yeah. My favorite part of PAX, one of my favorite parts, was sitting down with the throttle and stick and rudders and playing Star Citizen with Matt. And it was amazing. I only wished for the Oculus Rift, but a friend of mine in Seattle has a Star Citizen account, and he has an Oculus Rift, and he is going to be getting a joystick, and my life is all set now. I'm good. I'm ready.
Chris is ready to invade.
That's correct.
Let me play. But the thing with these games is the ambition, and Star Citizen and both Elite Dangerous. And I am not fanboying on either one of them, because I'm so happy that these games are being made and are made with the ambition and vision that they have. I mean, Star Citizen seems to be a step ahead, because they actually have, and this is the cool thing of the video, they have some planetary excursion there. The guy getting out of the ship and walking in the city, and it looks just freaking amazing. Elite Dangerous promises the same thing, but they will add walking in stations and on planets in a future expansion. There are already hooks in the game, but they're also bringing that in there with a procedurally developed 400 billion star system galaxy to explore.
Man. Can you imagine if Eve tried to bring in walking on stations? How awesome that would be!
We're moving on.
Moving on to talking about GoDaddy, our first sponsor here. I want to talk about a great deal that they've got right now, a $1.49.com. That's right, for only $1.49, you can get yourself a new .com domain from our friends over at GoDaddy. We've been using their services since we started doing our self-hosting, and really, I have never regretted the decision, not once. They are so fantastic. They've been our provider of our hosting and our .coms, our domains, since before they were a sponsor. That's how much we believe in what they do. So you can go out, check out GoDaddy.com, use the coupon code MMO149. If you look at the show notes, we'll have links there too. You really want to go check them out. If you're thinking of blogging, maybe you want to get yourself a Star Citizen blog, something like that going, you want to check out GoDaddy, use the coupon code MMO149, and you can get yourself a $1.49.com.
Coming this Christmas, Star Wars: The Old Republic will bring out its expansion, Shadow of Revan. Revan sounds much more classy. Sounds the more imperial way of saying things. Shadow of Revan.
That's what we're calling it from now on. All right, so what can you tell us about Shadow of Revan?
I can tell you that skill trees are being erased, and there's going to be some pre-order bonuses for everybody who wants to play. Who pre-orders the game will get a head start. Will be able to play earlier, and will get some bonus content. For example, the Rise of the Hot Cartel digital expansion is also included if you pre-order by November 2nd, 2014. I
have a question for you, Harry. Sorry.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on pre-orders, I know, are very, very clear when it comes to the game. What do you think about expansions, though, for pre-orders?
I don't have much of a problem with that, because if you are already invested in the game, you just want to have that extra bit of more content. So you already know what the game is and what it's going to offer, and that's a lot less of a risk to take than to invest upfront into a game you haven't played.
That's what I thought, but I thought I'd check. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, well, so I can imagine a lot of people just taking advantage of this deal if they are enjoying Star Wars: The Old Republic, and apparently there are a lot of them. I think it's the number 3 game in the world. We talked about this a couple of months ago when I was still on the show. Jeez, it's a long time.
Yep.
Been away.
Oh, we missed you, Harry. We really did.
I didn't Frozen in Carbonite, but I didn't hear You Miss Me, actually. I heard kind of a relief going through all the podcasts.
I didn't realize it was that evident.
The weeping was on mute. We've got very good at muting our sorrow.
Sorrow muting tech. That's good. Actually, subscribers who pre-ordered the digital expansion will receive a class experience boost as a bonus with the following details. Players are offered a 12 times experience gain while playing exclusively through class story missions up to level 55. So basically, this is one way to bring people up to speed to get to the new stuff. Lots of good stuff if you're into the Old Republic, and I'm not. Sorry for that editorial comment.
I like the touch that they're for the free-to-play players. They're actually getting the Hut Cartel digital expansion with the Shadow of Revan expansion. That's just a really good way to kind of reach out to anyone who quit the game ages ago and give them like a big wide path back into the game, because now you can feel like it's not that hard to catch up on the content.
Yeah,
because I don't think there's any other significant. I mean, short of the regular patches that have come through in that, I don't think there's any other significant content that you're missing between Rise of the Hutt and Shadow of Revan.
Well, and I'm just wondering, will the expansion be free, and the pre-ordering just gets you all this extra stuff, or will you have to pay $20 no matter what? And by pre-ordering, you just give them your money sooner and get extra stuff, money that you'd already have to give them anyway.
See, I'm kind of getting the impression that you're paying that $20 whether you're a subscriber or not.
That's my thought too, because you've got the subscriber exclusive part of it, so you can be free to play and buy this expansion, not really being free to play anymore, but not a subscriber, and still get everything except for the limited time class XP boost.
If I was a subscriber, I'd probably be irritated but not enraged about that.
Yeah, I with free to play games, I'm always of the mind that the content should be free, but that you could get extra stuff for getting the pack that comes with the expansions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and an experience boost for a month is not that. No, I don't think.
No. Speaking of expansions, Bill, move it along.
Yes, another expansion rolling through, because it's the fall of expansions. World of Warcraft is releasing their pre-expansion patch on October 14th, which is actually tomorrow. It's actually probably today for at least 25% of this podcast.
It is, yeah.
This is a huge patch. We'll have a link to the patch notes in our show notes. But the big things that are coming through are the new models, or the new character models are going to be coming through in this patch. So starting tomorrow, or by the time you hear this podcast, your World of Warcraft characters are going to look new and shiny, and maybe even just a little bit modern. Just a little bit, not too much. The new world event, the thing that brings in the Warlords of Draenor story setting, is going to be kicking off in the Blasted Lands, where if you're up on your World of Warcraft history, that's where you entered the Outlands originally, which is the broken remains of Draenor and everything like that. So that this expansion is all about kind of retconning that, as far as I can tell. So you can kick off that story there. And finally, it looks like, or not finally, there's, like I said, there's a zillion other things. But one of the things they're changing is actually the dungeon finding system, or the group finding system. They're actually allowing you to have pre-made groups. Like you could actually kind of have you can advertise partially made groups, so that the people that are going to be joining into the groups can see what's already there, and the people who want to join your partially made group can actually be audited by the group leader, which is kind of it seems like a good way to set up a little bit of elitism, but also I think probably is going to make a lot of people happy for group building.
It could. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna get the expansion. I'll be back in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to it. Now, Harry, I hear that things in EVE are going to become infinitely more complex.
Well, actually, this is an interesting choice for CCP. EVE Online has a very different way of character progressing than most other MMOs have, in the sense that you don't gain experience by killing stuff or by acting by doing stuff. It's you set a skill to learn, and then just like in the Matrix, I know Kung Fu. So the information is poured into your character's brain, but it takes some time. And to train to a skill to level 1, say mining, you want to learn how to mine. Training to level 1 takes about 5 minutes. Training to level 2 takes about 30 minutes. Level 3 will take about 8 hours, and level 4 for a week, and level 5, the highest level, will probably take you a month to complete. And it used to be that you could only set one skill at a time to train. So those first levels just kept you into the game a little longer, because after 5 minutes you wanted to set a new skill and you didn't want to lose your training time up until you could set a skill that you could just walk away from your keyboard and let the thing go ahead. Even if you log out, the skill accumulates. Then they introduced the skill queue, which meant that you could fill a queue up to 24 hours. And that meant that you could train several skills. And if your last skill in the queue was more than 24 hours, for example, a month, that was okay. As long as the first couple of things in your queue were within the 24-hour training limit. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you fill up this queue, and the last skill could last for as long as you want, but would end at a certain point. Now they're going to make the skill queue infinite. And that means that there's no limit to the skills that you can set. So you can basically just fill your skill queue up until that you've learned every skill in the game, which would take you literal years to accomplish. But you could just set that. And that there's some pros and cons to that. The pro is that if you, like me, leave the game for a couple of months because you're just doing other stuff, which happens, your skills can just accumulate. If I think ahead, I can make my character grow while not playing. This is a good thing. Bad thing is, apparently people in EVE don't play as much as they should. A lot of people log into their game to set their skills, spin their ship around, and log out. And there is some fear in the community that now the 24-hour limit is going to be lifted in the expansion that's coming up in November. People will set their skills, log out, and not log in again. And that is kind of a death knell for a sandbox game, because the only reason things happen in EVE Online, is if other players do something. So if nobody's logging in, nobody's flying their ships around, everybody's just setting their skills and logging out for 3 months, then you have then space is very boring. So there are some good sides and bad sides to this. I'm very curious to see what EVE Online is going to do to enhance the actual sandbox gameplay experience in the coming expansion.
I have a question for...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We're very interested in this. What do you know if you don't pay your subscription,
That was
do
my
your characters
question,
does your
Then your
character
skill
still learn?
No, then it stops.
Okay.
I'm assuming currently, if you with the 24-hour skill queue, if your subscription stops, I think it continues to learn. But I'm pretty sure they will end that. I'm not 100% positive. I have to get into that. I would imagine
log in on one day, 5 years later, log back into your mega super awesome character.
Yeah, no
and you
kidding.
didn't pay.
Actually, that I would find that highly unlikely, but something to look into.
Yeah, that's interesting. But okay, here's the thing: if people are only going into game to get their skills trained up, isn't CCP doing something wrong?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the big discussion. I mean, one of the
If the game isn't fun enough,
well,
who's
the
making
game is fun enough, but there are some serious problems with it. I'm just getting back up to speed, reading forums and reading news about the game because I want to get back into playing it. The big problem with EVE is the 0-0 space area is kind of stagnated. That's the area of the game, the star systems that can be claimed by player corporations and can be fought over. And there is this equilibrium right now. Everybody's just got their piece of land and just sits there and does their thing, and nobody really is motivated or incentivized to actually do some fighting. If you want to do small scale player versus player, which is usually a lot of fun to do in other games, it's kind of hard to get that together. It will take you a couple of hours to get a group together. I mean, in EverQuest days, that was the way we played, and we liked it. Damn it! But now, I'm sorry. If I want to play player versus player, I just want to get in and start fighting. And after half an hour or an hour, I want to get out. And things like that need to be introduced in some way or other into the game to make people actually. The short chunks of gameplay are missing, and that's always been EVE's weak point.
Yeah.
EVE is a great game if you have a couple of months to spare. If you have 5 minutes, please play Destiny.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, another story.
Moving on. And it's you.
yeah.
Hey, look, it's you, Harry.
I was actually already beginning to do my thing.
I'm sorry, did I interrupt you?
Yes.
Let Harry do his
Go ahead.
magic.
I'm noticing, by the way, my accent is actually getting worse after 3 months of not MMO reporting. Anyway.
Getting better, you mean?
Square Enix just
Okay, I won't
registered some
interrupt anymore.
trademarks. Thank you for that. You're so considerate. I know that I start talking, you start talking. Square Enix has announced that there's going to be an expansion for Final Fantasy XIV. They will announce all the details on Fan Festival, which is next weekend. A friend of mine, Bas Vroegop, is actually going to attend with his girlfriend. They both play the game hardcore. They're actually into the raiding game now. So I haven't seen him much. The expansion wasn't named yet, but they found some trademark registrations, and one of them is Blue Sky Ishgard. And there are some hints that the next expansion is going to take the players into the sky. There's some rumors about that already. So we're going to see more about that after the Fan Festival, and we'll talk about that in probably next week's show.
Okay. I mean, this is MMO Reporter's Game of the Year 2013, but
You're not bitter.
I've tried to
You're not
It
bitter.
seems to be going pretty well. I think we picked a good one.
See, I could tell that Chris is already planning the MMO Reporter Game of the Year for 2014 now, and he's going to be building a strategy to counteract the events that led to Final Fantasy XIV being the very clear winner, obviously, in 2013. So I could see the battle building. Like, Chris is putting pieces on the board here, and he's getting it all set.
I think you're giving it too much credit. I'm pretty sure if we don't elect Wildstar, he's going to throw a tantrum. He's going to drop to the floor, flail his arms around, and cry until we give him what he wants.
there's still a few more months
Isn't
left.
that what I said? He's planning his moves. He's setting the pieces on the board.
Y'all suck.
Well, I still think that if you look at what Final Fantasy XIV accomplished and how it's still running and how it's the
Next
the
story,
biggest
Harry. Next story.
subscription
Time to move
MMO
on.
in the world.
I'm moderating here. We've got a pretty cool last story here, so let's.
Okay, so a little. Okay, this has nothing to do with MMOs, but it's very nice and geeky. We all know Magic the Gathering. It's the card game. You collect cards. It's basically like Hearthstone, but with paper cards. For all you young folks out there, this game has been around for a while, and there are some first edition starter packs with your first starter cards to learn how to play the game. And the older things get, the more rare they become. Look at me. I'm unique. I'm a foil edition. I found this little video on Kotaku where a guy from a fan site, a Magic the Gathering fan site, opens up a first edition set of starter deck And the last card in the deck is a rare card. And that's the way it's intended. That's the way they were set up. You get a lot of common cards, and your last card in the deck, this little surprise. And you have this 10-minute video of this guy opening the cards, checking them all out. And at around 8 minutes and 15 seconds, he gets to the final rare card. And they were joking about this, like, oh, what if this is going to be the Black Lotus? And ha 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 ha. And it actually is. It is a card that is so rare that it's worth over $30,000. And this guy is just opening it as just to show what people got back in the old day, and he wins the lottery, basically. Yeah. So just check out the video. His response is just fantastic. His voice pitches up to a level that only dogs can hear at a certain point.
Are we sure that we don't want to hear that?
I'm sure we do.
Because I'm pretty sure we could make that
Hey
happen.
guys, you got it.
Not that. Because that wasn't it. Let's go ahead here and skip ahead to where it is. And go back. Okay, here we go.
Closer and closer. Copper tablets.
Cards. Here we go.
Enchant, animate, artifact.
Here's the thing. He's wearing gloves. Just so
Sarah
we know
Angel,
this.
beautiful one. She seems to be pretty
That's
centered.
how you know he's serious.
Yeah.
And last uncommon, Soulnet. Here comes the first alpha rare. At 8 minutes in,
shaking.
will it be the Lotus? Oh wow, Tropical Island. Dual land. There we go. And then the other one is, holy boosh! That's a freaking Black Lotus! Holy God! That's an alpha freaking Lotus! That's a holy.
He keeps it clean, though.
Yeah.
Boy, imagine if he'd spit his coffee onto it. That would have been just catastrophic. This would have been a tragedy instead.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
I read a comment under this story from a guy who admitted that 15 years ago, when he opened up a booster pack in the street, he found 2 very rare cards in his booster pack, and then a gust of wind took them out of his hands into the open street. And he writes, I didn't care if I got killed. I had to go into the street. I didn't care who I stopped. I went into that street, and I went there for 2 hours until I found both of them. Huh. So this is what Magic does to people.
I should go through I have all my old Magic cards still, too.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking the same thing.
I should go through,
I've got boxes of them.
Just in case. Yeah.
I do have, and this is one of the things that's kind of I have when I went to Blizzard a couple of years ago, I met Chris Metzen, which was actually by accident, because my interview fell through. It was something that went wrong, and the interview that was planned didn't go through. So the PR lady, very nice woman, said, okay, I'll fix something for you. I'll get somebody else for you. I didn't know at the time it would be Chris Metzen. And she said, while you're waiting, here, have some things. She grabbed something out of her desk drawer, and she gave me some scratch cards for World of Warcraft. So after that, oh, thank you. It doesn't necessarily, but thank you. So Chris Metzen interview, get home, and I get home, and I remember these cards, and I checked them. And one of them is a World of Warcraft pet, and I forgot which one of it is. And I checked, I think it's a Murloc. And I checked it on the web, and it was worth $800.
Oh,
wow.
So you sold it.
I couldn't, because the heyday of WoW was just about over, and the price was dropping as I was watching it. But if I had it a couple of months before that, it would have actually been a freaking awesome thing to have. Now it's just lying in my drawer, waiting for better times.
All right. Speaking of better times, we're going to talk about the Extra Life Marathon, because it is something that is important to all of us on the team in our different ways. I know for me, it's something that I feel is very important and that I want to participate in every year. For my family, BC Children's Hospital has played a part in my life, both Selenia's life and our kids had some prenatal care there. Going to that hospital and feeling so absolutely comfortable, even though they were checking to make sure that doing some pretty extensive tests to make sure that our kids were healthy. It was a really comfortable environment, and I want to support them because of what they did for my family. So we are doing Extra Life again. We're going to be playing Wildstar. We're going to be playing an all Chua group, which I think will be very, very exciting. No class restrictions or anything like that. My donations, like I talked about, are going to BC Children's Hospital. Bill's are going to BC Children's Hospital. Layanor's are going to Milwaukee Children's Hospital. So here's how it works, basically, folks. We've got a link on our page here. If you go check out the show notes, or you can just check out our page directly on Extra Life. Just search for MMO Reporter in the search bar, or you can just go check out the team page. I'm trying to find where the short link for it is here, and I'm going to go and not find it. That's okay. Oh, extra-life.org/participant/MMO Reporter, I believe it is. Anyways, so we got a link there. Go check it out. And support the Children's Miracle Network hospitals and the specific hospitals that we're supporting. Gentlemen, anything you want to add about that? Bill, Layanor?
Not too much. Check it out. It's a big event for MMO Reporter. We always have a lot of fun, but obviously we love the cause as well. So check it out if you're into donating to children's hospitals and that kind of thing. This is a great venue to do it in a fun way.
Mm-hmm. Layanor?
I can't wait to do it again. I had a big blast last year doing it. Everybody got really goofy at the end.
A good reason to donate is to get to see us goofy. So we're having a couple events leading up to this. I'm going to be live streaming my Chua creation on Thursday, October 16th. I will do whatever the chat room says as far as look, so I can be as derpy as you so choose. Layanor, you're doing the same thing, right?
Yes, I am. I'm doing it on Thursday at what time?
You're doing it Wednesday.
Wednesday?
October 15th
Wednesday.
at 8 p.m. I'm doing it Thursday, October 16th at 8:30 p.m. all Pacific time. So, very exciting for that. So please go and check them out. Maybe Harry will pop on to Skype call if we can convince him at some point. If he's not away again like he was last year.
We will see. Time will tell.
All right, and of course our sponsors, all of our sponsors over at Patreon, want to give a big shout out and thank you to Lance, who just joined our list of patrons. Thank you so much, sir. You are much appreciated. And, of course, you can check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. Choose to support the network. We are $23 away from releasing our song, which I've been working on. Harry Hall helped me record that. It is very exciting. You want to hear it. It's very cool. And, of course, go to doghousesystems.com and use the coupon code MMO Reporter to double your RAM when you order your system. Thanks, sponsors. Bill, if people want to get a hold of us, how would they do that?
Well, there is a whole bunch of different ways. You can head over to www.mmoreporter.com to check out the main hub of the MMO Reporter Network. All the other brother and sister podcasts that we have out there will be linked off of MMOreporter.com. You can send us an email at mmo.reporter@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/MMO Reporter. You can tweet at any of the MMO reporters, either at MMO_reporter for Chris, at Harry Hall for Harry Hall, at Layanor for Layanor, surprisingly enough, and at MMO Bill for yours truly. You can give us a call at 616-666-6778 or click the widget on the right side of MMOreporter.com. Leave us a message. Let us know what you think. We will, if the swears are, if there's a 2-to-1 ratio of non-swears to swears, then we'll probably put it on the show. And finally, you can check out youtube.com/user/MMO Reporter Network for all of our video productions, and all the PAX coverage that we put out there, and anything else that we snip that just seems good enough to put on the YouTubes.
All right. That sounded very final.
I suppose I should have tied that off with a biddy, that's all, folks.
That's all, folks. That was not good. I won't do that again. All right, thanks, Bill, and thanks for a great show. It's, as always, fantastic to record with you.
I'm surprised that neither of us succumbed to a little bit of turkey coma, actually.
Close. Layanor, it was surprisingly tolerable once again this week. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I only had like 3 beers.
There you go. And Harry, as always, an absolute torture to record with you. But thanks so much for coming out.
I'll get some beer next time. Maybe it will improve.
It was actually a blast recording with all 3 of you. Lots of fun as always. Thanks so much. Thanks for our chat room for coming out, hanging out with us as we recorded. And of course, thanks to everyone who downloaded the podcast. You're all awesome. I just want to say that right now. You're really, really cool. Thank you. We hope that you like the podcast. We hope that you download it again next week. But most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.